Welcome to this video from the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center. As fall arrives and the leaves are changing colors, there is a special holiday celebrated by many people here in our valley, Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead. Today, I am grateful for my friend Jose Hernandez, who's going to be joining me and sharing some of his story about the holiday and teaching me about making a Papel Picado like these.
Hey Kmbris, thank you for having me, and I'm grateful to join you today and share some of my limited knowledge in Dia de los Muertos and about Papel Picado.
Awesome, thank you so much for being here. So Jose, tell me a little bit about Dia de los Muertos and what it represents for you.
For me, it's a very important holiday. I still practice it to this day. I think it is one of the ones that should keep us connected to our roots, and I appreciate that it's still a major holiday.
So this is something that you celebrated in your family growing up?
Absolutely. As far as I can remember, my parents used to set up an altar, and they used to practice all of these things, or they still do. And they kind of taught me a little bit more about what is behind the whole tradition and how it's connected to even pre-colonial times before we even spoke Spanish, and how much it means to our heritage.
Oh, that's so great. So what types of things did you do with the holiday growing up?
Yeah, so my dad, he sets up an ark, he puts the flowers up, we set up pictures of our loved ones, people who have passed away. We set up plates of food, their favorite foods, if they enjoyed different kind of things, whether it's drinking, whether it is cigarettes, smoking, we will leave that out as a way of remembering them. And the tradition says that they do come in and they do enjoy a meal with you that night. So it is our way of remembering them and showing that we still remember.
That's so meaningful. I'm curious, so what is the meaning of these look like kind of like a prayer flag or a banner, the Papel Picado, what does that represent?
So these are very festive, and the paper is really not just connected to Dia de los Muertos, it's connected to any kind of festivity, anything that equates to celebration, and it is placed in quinceañeras, and it's placed in any kind of party. And I guess the connection it has to Dia de los Muertos is that to show that it's not a time of mourning, it's a time of party, it's a time to remember, it's a time to be happy that you got to meet these people and that you meant something to them and they mean something to you even after death.
So what about, I know I was reading something about how they represent the wind or maybe the spirit world. Does that connect for you?
Correct, yes, and there's some connection there in which it's connected to some spirits, some people connected to it being having to do with people seeing it as a form of freedom. Many people have different mythologies connected to the Papel Picado, and I think it's regional. I think different people have different kind of attachment to it.
So did you grow up making these?
Somewhat, yes, yeah. So I do know people that mass make. I've seen some that are like borderline works of art, where it's really, really complicated and intricate in the designs, and I've seen them where little kids make them. I mean, essentially kind of like snowman flaking or snowflake. Yeah, snowflake.
Sure.
Yeah.
We all definitely grew up making those.
Yep.
So why don't we get started with our activity? I'm excited to learn how to do that.
Sure. Hola, hoy vamos a estar demostrando cómo hacer papel picado. Lo que vamos a hacer, vamos a usar papel china para usar y hacer papel picado, como pueden ver aquí. Vamos a hacer un patrón muy fácil, que es el de hacerlo en círculos. Y voy a estar aquí con mi amiga, Kmbris Bond.
Hello.
Hi, so today we're going to be giving a demonstration of papel picado, how to make it. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing one of the easiest patterns, which is the radial design. And today we are accompanied here by Kmbris Bond.
Thank you so much for being here.
Lo que vamos a ocupar para hacer el papel picado va a ser papel, tape, tijeras y hilo. What you'll need for this craft to complete papel picado: paper, we're going to be using some tissue paper, tape, scissors, and some string. Primera parte va a ser dividir el papel en cuatros. The very first step will be to divide the paper in fours.
Here we go. So I've got it in quarters, and here's my point with the edges out.
Right. Lo primero que tienes que darte cuenta es el centro y dónde está la parte de afuera. the very important part you want to keep in mind is where the center is, and then be mindful of where the points are at that are pointing outwards. Lo que hace este diseño radial es los triángulos que vas a hacer. The thing that makes this a radial design is the triangles you're going to be making. El mínimo de 2 triángulos, pero puedes hacer muchos más. Minimum of 2 triangles, but you can add many more.
Okay, sounds great. So it's kind of like making a fan.
Yes. Y de aquí vas a añadir tus diseños con la tijera. From here, you're going to be adding your designs with scissors. Los diseños pueden variar de diferentes longitudes y de complexidad. The designs can vary in complexity and in design.
So I can make some triangles, or hearts, or circles.
Yes. All of those are cool design ideas that I would encourage.
Okay. Have to be careful not to cut through, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That is a thing. It reminds me of making snowflakes, but we're not to that season yet.
Not yet. Close, but not yet.
And I've got several things here. Okay.
El próximo paso es sacar el diseño en cuartos. The next step is to extend it out into fourths again.
Okay.
Y de aquí vas a añadir tu diseño en las esquinas. From here, we're going to be adding our design in the corners.
So this can be used like scallops or just a curve to make it more round.
Yes.
Do you have any of these still from your childhood that you made when you were little?
They're so hard to preserve.
I'm sure.
Yeah, they're so hard to
So
preserve.
do you make them new each year?
Yes. Y de aquí, el próximo paso es extenderlo de los cuartos. From here, you want to extend it outwards from the fourth that you just had it.
Wow. How do you say very beautiful?
Muy bonito.
Wow. Muy bonito. Oh, I like your center.
Mm-hmm. It has a little bit of a design there that I wanted to add, and
It's neat.
came out pretty cool.
Yeah, it totally worked.
So you can see how you come a little bit more confident as you're doing it.
Absolutely. And then we can attach to the string.
Y de aquí vas a tomar tu hilo y vas a doblar el papel picado sobre tu hilo y usar el tape para detenerlo ahí. From here, you're going to take it all the way out to the edge, and you're going to be using tape to fasten the papel picado onto the string.
I kind of messed it up there. Sorry.
Very good.
Mhm. Thank you for helping me.
Yeah. Se puede usar resistol o tape, como ustedes prefieran. You can use glue or tape, as you prefer.
Wow. They look beautiful. So, Jose, where do you hang these at your house?
You can hang them anywhere really that you want it to look pretty cool. I like the cool U effect. You can see it here. the U effect, it's basically universal. Think of it as almost like balloons. You can have, and banners. Día de los Muertos es una de las celebraciones anuales más importantes en México. Es el tiempo de render honores a los muertos. Esta no es una celebración triste o de pavor, sino una celebración de recogio, porque las almas de los seres queridos regresan a la tierra a visitar corta.
Dia de los Muertos is one of the most important yearly celebrations in Mexico, a time for honoring the dead. This holiday is not a sad or scary time, but a time of rejoicing as the souls of deceased loved ones return to Earth for a short visit.
Día de los Muertos regularmente se celebra el 31 de octubre al 2 de noviembre durante la celebración cristiana del Día de Todos los Santos y Todas las Almas. En México, esta es la celebración del Día de Todos los Santos. Los altares de las casas son decorados con flores coloridas, frutas, veladoras, incienso, adornos de papel, cosas personales y la comida favorita del ser querido que pasó a mejor vida. Las tumbas y criptas se encuentran limpias y decoradas también. Los vivos celebramos con música, comida, procesiones, danzas y juguetes. Unidos con las almas de los muertos, todos celebramos el ciclo de vida.
Day of the Dead most often celebrated between the days of October 31st and November 2nd, during the Christian holidays of All Saints and All Souls Days. In Mexico, this is a holiday of Todos Santos, All Saints. Home altars are decorated with colorful flowers, fruit, candles, incense, cut paper banners, and the favorite foods and personal items of the departed loved ones. Graves and crypts are cleaned and decorated as well. The living celebrate with music, food, processions, dances, and toys. Joined by the souls of the dead, all celebrate the cycle of life. Thank you so much for joining us here at Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center. And thank you, Jose, for joining us today. It was a pleasure having you here.
Pleasure being here as well. Thank you for having me.
Happy Dia de los Muertos.